Hello, everyone, and welcome to Burn News and Views. Today, we're very happy to have with us a lady I have long admired and feel is one of Bermuda's unsung heroes. I'm speaking of none other than Mrs. Patricia Pogson-Nesbitt. Mrs. Nesbitt is one of Bermuda's better-known playwrights, directors, and producers. And so currently she's making her home in Ghana, West Africa, but she's still maintaining her ties to Bermuda through the Nori Youth Theater Company. And we're so happy she has decided to grace us with her presence. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Anytime.
All right. So you recently retired from a career in education. You've been an educator for, I know, of at least 20 of those years, if I can say that.
38 years.
38 years. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So tell us about your time in education. I think most people, if they are aware of you, know that it had something to do with drama, but expand on that if you can.
Okay, so I actually began in 1977. Then I went to Howard University, and I had to work. My mother could not afford to keep me in school, and she told me I had to come home. So I began to take jobs. I got a work permit, and I began to work in the Washington, D.C. Public school system in every level of education. And I ended by teaching at Washington, D.C.'s premier school for the arts. In fact, they're probably in America, the Duke Ellington School of Performing Arts.
Wow.
And that was like a real plus for me because there was also a casting agency attached to the school. So the children were coming in and they were studying, and then they could actually audition for real shows. And I remember Mr. T. I don't know if you remember Mr. T. He was the guy that had, or if you were old enough to remember, he had a show.
18. The 18, right? Yeah.
So one of my students actually was cast for that. And, to have that, and I hadn't even graduated yet, I felt really great. I actually joined a company called the Nubian League, and they toured across the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. And I was working in libraries. I was working in all different types of levels of schools. And I was teaching African studies, African American studies, and I was using percussion instruments and also singing. So this was my beginning. And then when I came home, I couldn't get a job because there were a lot of foreign teachers that were teaching drama. And I was told this, and I had to wait a while before I could actually get in the system. But when I did get in, thanks to Mr. Dick Dane from Devonshire Academy, after much jostling with the then Minister for Education, I was working at the police station at the time, and I went to see Mr. He told me to go see Mr. Dane. Mr. Dane hired me immediately, and so that was the beginning of my career. But not as a drama teacher. I was teaching English, civics, and social studies. Those three subjects. So I had to kind of study and teach at the same time. And out of that, I became the head of social studies committee for the BSSC, which was the certification that was in Bermuda at the time. So then from there, I went to Devonshire Academy closed. I did have a lot to do with drama, though. I have to say, I helped to produce and direct quite a few plays that were there while I was there. From there, I went to St. George's Sac under Mr. Dale Butler.
I remember that, yes.
And then I became the head of theater department there. And then we had introduced some video. I don't remember the gentleman's name that was teaching it, but it was the first time something like that had happened because video was relatively new.
Right.
And then from there, I left and I went to Hamilton Princess Hotel, and I ran the Jabulani Repertory Company there for 3 years, which was my best job in Bermuda ever. I mean, if I could ever have another job, that would be one of them. But I was directing and producing 4 shows at once. So every weekend you could come and see a different show. And everybody who was anybody in theater was working because we were paying people. So like as a lead actor, you could make $250 a week. You're working 2 nights a week. If you were a supporting actor, you'd make half of that. And then the technicians and everybody involved, this was a job. And then unfortunately, as things go sometimes, I fell out with the damn producer, and I just decided that I did not want to work under certain working conditions. So I left and I went to Pride. Now, Pride Bermuda, Parents Resource Institute for Drug Education at the time, I became the program director, working with Danielle Revere, who to me, she's the executive director of the Chamber of Commerce right now, but to me, she was the best youth coordinator that I could ever have in my team. And when I got there, they were saying, so what do you want to do? I said, well, you have to have pride in every parish. And how are you going to do that? I said, you have to have a program in every school. So that was what I did. And from there, I developed a pride performance team. So the children were teaching each other how to produce plays or songs or whatever to use performance to teach about drug prevention. And then from there, it kind of just grew. We used to travel overseas and perform. We came back here. I don't know if anybody remembers Red Ribbon. That was one of the fundraisers we used to have every year down on Front Street at the Flag.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And then I left there and I was asked by the department to come back because they needed a head of English department at Delwood, because I also taught reading, English and reading, English language, and reading. I went to Delwood and I was there from 2000 to 2006. Then in 2006, I decided, that's great, I need to do something for myself. So I went to do my master's degree in screenwriting because I wanted to write films and produce films. And so I haven't had that journey yet. And so that's what I'm getting ready to do now. I did teach video production for 1 year at Cedar Bridge Academy while I was there. But that wasn't that was not supposed to be a subject that I taught, but I did it because it wasn't being taught the way that I needed it to be taught. And so I thought about it. I'm blessed to say there's one of my students, Dquan Trot. He is now at Liberty University. He's one of my best actresses, one of my favorite students. He's actually studying video production now, and he wants to have his own video production company. So I'm looking forward to see what he's going to bring to Bermuda if he comes back. Yeah.
Okay. Really, really good. I can tell you're so vested in your students.
Yes, I am.
The little bit you've just spoken about. Talk to me about what, obviously you want to pass on the baton, I'm thinking, correct?
Yeah.
So talk to me about that. You've done really well. This summer I had the great pleasure of working with you for a week, and two of you, were those your former students that we worked with?
Maya Peer, yes. Maya Peer was the first president of the Noir Youth Theater Company. And, excuse me, she's now studying communications in the Netherlands. And I'm very proud of her because she, when you have children that come to you and say they want to do something, and look, don't tell me that you want to do something because Patricia Nesbitt is going to go, okay, but let's just do it. So in 2017, a group of them came to me and said they wanted to have their own theater company. What did they have to do? And I said, well, we just do it. So they wrote a book. It was called Loud. So I encouraged them to publish. I said, we're doing this. Let's create a legacy. So they started Noir Youth Theater Company. The name was given to us by a fellow colleague of mine, Gina Love, the comedian.
She actually just popped her head in. Actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. She named the company, and off we went. And the children created some monologues, and we performed them in the Black Box Theater at Ruth Seton James Center Performing Arts, which is my teaching classroom. And that was the children's home, and that's why the company was so successful, because these children would come lunchtime, after school. I was actually given permission to stay there all hours in the night because you cannot teach drama in 45 minutes.
Right.
You just can't do that. And so we had all kinds of theatrical productions. The parents were very supportive. We decided to formalize the company, and we created Noir Youth Theater Company Charitable Trust. So we're a charity right now.
Okay. So this summer, you actually did a production.
Through Shira's Door, yes.
Call the name again?
Through Shira's Door.
Right. And that was so enlightening for me. I've always been a drama buff, but to see the behind the scenes look as to what it entails to get a production of that magnitude up and running was just fascinating, to say the least. And actually, to me, a documentary should be done on that, because it spelled out that you had young people. I think you had about 10 to 12 children, 10 to 12 girls.
Yes.
And between the ages of 8 and
9 and 11. But there was a senior component. You see, it was written by one of Bermuda's best young writers, I would say. Her name is Kisai Bao. And Kisai came to me. I didn't even know she was at Cedar Bridge writing. The librarian, Marva Smith at the youth library had said that she had this competition. And did I know her? I said, no, I don't know her. And so I met her, and the rest is history. She and her twin sister, Kisei, wrote some poems, and they won some awards. So I invited them in. Last summer, last spring, I had the opportunity to work with the Accord Literary Program, which was out of Gibraltar. And what happened was there was a competition. 15 children entered. The Department of Education hosted it. And it was a workshop online that they had to come to the department, or they could do it at the school to take. And it was a competition. So you met with all these fantastic authors. These children met with fantastic authors. They were able to talk to them. Happy to say that Yesha Townsend from the Bermuda College, she was a part of this journey. And Yesha is a very well-known spoken word artist, as well as an English teacher. But she was a part of this journey. So these 15 children, they wrote, and Kisai wrote Through Shira's Door. And it was a fantasy. And it's all about colorism and how, the very dark-skinned children, how they are bullied by their peers. So they're not necessarily facing racism outside within
the race,
but even within their peers.
Right.
And what happened with that, the younger children, when we started, I said, okay, let's see what they want to do. And the first thing they did was this improv. I said, okay, well, let's see what happens in your class. What happened in your classroom? They started to tell me this story about this girl that was dragged across the floor by her ponytail and beat up because she was Black, dark skin.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I said, well, then that's the story we're going to tell, and we're going to have some fun telling it. And so what evolved was whatever they brought to rehearsal.
So the little young girl, the youngest one, correct? Is she the one that played the title role?
Yes, Ryan.
I don't have the names down, but the little young one.
Her name is Ryan. Ryan Millett. This is Ryan Scott Millett.
Okay, she was very good. Yeah,
she was very good. That little girl, I told her mother already. I said, so what are we doing with her? Because she needs to go in an environment. If that is what she wants to do, she needs to be in an environment where she can do that every day.
Right.
All day. And the beauty of, I'll just go back a little bit. When I was at teaching at Duke Ellington, what I appreciated about the school is that it started at 8:00 in the morning. And from 8:00 to like 11:30 or so, those were your core subject. That was your core subject period. After that, for the rest of the afternoon until 5, you were in school working on your discipline.
Yeah.
In order to stay, though, you had to make sure those core subjects were covered and that you were passing those. You were not allowed to stay at the school if you were failing in the morning subjects. Yeah.
It actually reminds me of the High School for the Performing Arts in New York City. I think they have the same mentality. I'm sure most production companies have the same mentality.
Yeah.
Now, I have seen the majority of your plays. I love your plays, and I'm sure most people listening in love your plays. What do you think is resonating with all of us that we're saying, oh, Patricia Pogson has a play, Miss Nesbitt has a play, we got to go see it no matter what?
Because it's going to deal with something that is relevant to the island right now, which is why I absolutely loved the roadshow when I used to do it, because
I missed the roadshow.
Well, cross your fingers, because I've been asked to do something coming up. Let's pray that it goes through.
Oh,
right?
Good.
And so many people have asked me, like, why don't you bring it back? I'm like, I'm getting ill for this now. Let's find a young person that I could train who actually wants to write and produce and direct, because I did more than one job. So it was the education, it was the writing, it was the directing, it was all of that. So you'd have to find a person that wants to be what I call, is a term I coined, called a theatrician. You have to know everything. Yeah, everything. But
it's a lot of work, folks. I did 1 week with you and I was exhausted. I did from Monday through Friday. And I remember Friday, I didn't even last till the 3:30, 3 o'clock. I was just like, check you. It's a lot. It's enriching, but it really was exhausting, because you have to, you have to talk with the young people and make sure they're on task and doing what they have to do. It's not just acting, it's dancing, it's singing, it's everything. So it really was an enlightening experience for me. So what would have been some of like your students? I was so impressed to see those two young people there. I want to just talk about them for a minute. The
Sure.
young man, I'm hoping that we can get a picture of the young man who was your dance instructor.
Yeah. So Dejon Thomas, he is incredible, and it's not just a dance instructor. He can teach other subjects as well, but that is his forte. And he also became our DJ. I was hoping that I would get two young DJs. I was hoping to have DJ Young Sai, but he could only do one day. I didn't want to do that. But he just said, you know what, I'll fill in. I didn't know he was a DJ. But he's very gifted in working with children, little children.
He
They love
was.
him.
He
He's very
really was. Yeah.
soft-spoken. He's very gentle. You can't help but love him.
Right.
And so I like him. And hopefully he'll be coming back for the summer to work with us this summer with whatever it is we end up doing. Yeah.
Do I dare ask for another week internship with you?
I think you should try to be with, you should just attach yourself with me, but I will tell you this, that there is something a little bit grander that's in the works, and I'm praying to God that it actually comes through. But if not, you can come for 2 weeks.
Okay.
You know,
I
and
want to switch.
it's only a 4-week program. You come the first week, we talk to you, and give you, you know, some grounding. The second and third weeks, you are creating. The third week, you're really.
It was a great learning experience. Seriously, Pat. It really was.
You go to the theater and you'll rehearse, and then we're in it.
Yeah, I wanted to switch gears because unfortunately our interview is going to be almost over. But you are now making your home in Ghana, West Africa, and I say that with much flourish because I don't know if our audience knows, my dad is from Ghana, West Africa, and so you know, tell me about it. What made you and your husband decide to go to Ghana to make that your home, and how's it working out?
Well, after being with the Nubian League, I knew that that's where I was going to end up. I was going to end up in Ghana. My husband went in 1999 with his friend Mike Bean, who never came back to Bermuda. Actually, Mike is still there. And you know, we meet with him a lot. But he when he retired, when my husband retired, he asked me, you know, am I ready for Plan B? I forgot about Plan B. That was Plan B. So I bought him a ticket because he was dragging his teeth. He went in 2021, and so he built a house. He's taught Ghanaians how to build, like how the Bermudians build. We've now adopted 2 families that live with us, and they run our land. We're eating off the land, lots of fruits and vegetables. And so, you know, it's a very healthy lifestyle. And now we've had Let's Rediscover Africa last year. Karen Hendrickson came in. She's working on a project and trying to get people around the world to come and visit Africa. So we'll see what happens with her. Working on having an airline as well. So my thing is that I would like to
Ghana Airlines. Ghana Airlines, is that like you said, an airline?
Yeah, Malika Air is what it would be called. But she would like to be able to take people from the Caribbean over to different countries in Africa. So we'll be giving Ghana because that's where, you know, that's where she lives. But the thing is, I want to have a university. I want to have a university. Its basis would be health and wellness, as well as the arts and self-awareness, right? And the idea behind it is that I would like to start it, and people think I'm crazy when I say it because there's this thing about university and what it should look like. They said, well, so how old do you have to be to go? I said 2. I want them from babies. At 2, when they are at that terrible 2s, there are things that are happening that we have an opportunity to be able to look at them socially, emotionally, and prepare them for the work. Right? And people just tend to think of theater as acting. No, you got to have a business component. You've got all the technical pieces that go along with it, as well as the management pieces. And it's very important that we know all of this, because everything that you learn in the arts can be applied to whatever job is out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, you've got from the person that conceives the idea for the play and everything that's needed, the hairdresser, the makeup
wardrobe, everything,
the lighting, the sound, everything. It's a lot.
So much,
the promotion, you know, now we've got social media. So that's what I would like to do. So I found an area, looking at it, there's an African architect. His name is Francis Kerr. He just won an award for his architecture. He's one of the first African people to win the Pritzker Award for architecture. I mean, you look at his work, I was like, okay, so I'm going to meet him. And then it's my book. The last thing is my book. The Lion's Den has been in process for a couple of years now. I'm ready to release it. So this summer, I want to be sure that I release it so that people that have committed to me can actually share in this long process of creating this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has. Oh
Yeah.
wow, Pat, you have such a legacy that you have that you've managed to create. I'm so proud of you that you had a vision, you stuck to it, you went with it, and I'm really really proud of you. I'm happy to have known you and continue to know you. I thank you so much for coming. I'm pretty new here on Burn News, but I do thank you for being one of my initial guests. I've had about 2 to 3, so you're the third one. Yay!
Thank you.
All
I'm
right,
glad
thank
you asked me.
you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Anytime.
All righty.
Thank
Listen, folks, on behalf of Burn News, News and Views, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. And I want to reiterate what I said in the beginning of the program, in that you are one of Bermuda's unsung heroes. I feel you deserve every accolade that comes your way. And when we are celebrating, the unsung heroes, I hope one day we will be celebrating you in June. And I mean that sincerely from the bottom of my heart, because you have influenced me. We've known each other a long time, but you've certainly
you.
influenced me just to do what I do. And you've given me a lot of positive feedback along the way, too. I appreciate it. All righty, folks. Thank you
Thank
once again
you.
for joining us for Burn News and Views. I'm Shay Dawn Burgess. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.